Welcome to No Gate Fees with Brent Martineau on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
What we got? We got a little Tyler Callihan, former Providence Stallion. What a way to start the day here on No Gate Fees. This is what all the baseball guys in town and people playing dream to be. Tyler Callihan, what was that now, about 5 or 6 years ago? 2019. Playing at Providence. Him and Nathan Hickey, right, starring on that team. And, Jason Hamby, too.
Well, not so much.
And he got the call up last night. Been hitting really well in AAA.
Leadoff spot.
With Chattanooga, and he's in the leadoff spot today?
No, he's hitting ninth in left field, which is ironic because they called him up as an infielder. He's been everywhere for him. Against Miles Michaelis. Not so sold-out crowd out there for a 12:40 matinee up in Cincinnati. I don't know if that's I don't know. My question will be for him later on today whether it's better that way to have an afternoon crowd of 8,000.
Yeah,
he's probably played in front of bigger.
He'd probably
minor league level,
but...
or if he wants 38,000 at night under the lights.
Yeah, so will you text him a little bit later?
Yeah, I texted him last night. I'll probably text him. I'll shoot him a text later.
Yeah, he's gonna be excited.
Hopefully, it depends on if he gets a hit. Because right now, 0 for 2, and he missed a cookie off of Michaelis. Started him off with a changeup, which I think this should be a across-the-board rule if you make your debut as a hitter that you're guaranteed one heater to start the AB, to start your career.
Yeah.
But he started with a changeup, and he flew out to left field on the third pitch. That was the only heater he got. And then his second AB, he threw him another changeup, 2-1, and he grounded to second. Is
this the first guy that's made the bigs for you that you've been around?
Yeah, that I played with for multiple years, yes. I mean, I think in the next few years, there's hopefully going to be a few, whether it's the Barcos or the Halters or the Hickeys or of the world and all those guys that I grew up with. But TC's definitely the first one.
Okay. It's pretty cool, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you guys are pretty close. And, that's fun. That's really a lot of fun to see that. And good for him, by the way. We love that part of it. And it's been, listen, I mean, that's since 2019. He could have gone to college and played.
USC, yeah.
Ends up going to right to the pros. Obviously, got to go through the pandemic and everything else.
He had to have Tommy John as a second baseman.
That's kind of weird, huh?
Yeah.
He didn't throw in high school either.
No.
Right?
Well, no, he did for us his senior year. Yeah.
I didn't realize.
But this was in the minors. He was playing second base, made a throw to first, and tore his UCL.
Wow. So anyway, that's awesome. Good stuff. Great way to start the day, and good for his family and everybody else. We'll keep an eye on him today and have that for you tonight on CBS 47 and Fox 30. By the way, we're loaded up here on the show today. We'll have Braden Harris, who has been awesome on the bump for St. John's Country Day. He's going to be joined by Chandler Dantzler a little bit later on.
All right.
Chandler, our buddy from Where's Home podcast, got a big base knock yesterday to help win the game for the St. John's Country Day Spartans, and they sweep the series. And we'll also have Josh Persinger on from Clay High School. Obviously done an unbelievable job with that program. They sweep as well. I was over there last night, and I always call Clay High School the most underrated baseball program in the area. They've been really good for a long time. They produce a ton of players, ton of talent. They keep the talent there, and they did it again last night. I mean, they've got some guys going, whether it's Florida, a couple to St. John's River, had a JU commit at one time. They'll have a bunch of sophomores coming up. I was learning about their team yesterday. They were good. Florida Gulf Coast, by the way, Raposa's going too. So very good. And right now they're on to the regional finals as well. So, and they didn't have to go to Pensacola. That's probably the biggest news of the day.
Happy about that.
Is they didn't have to do that with the win. Carnell right there with a shot to right field. And now it's a small yard.
It is.
But it's still 337 to right, and he put it over the wall, which has all their three big leaguers, guys that have made the Dunnings and have made it to the big leagues, and it went over it. So it was a no-doubter. But they won Monday on a walk-off home run. We're going to show you that. It's an unbelievable video.
It's incredible.
Isn't it? It's an unbelievable video for not the home run. We'll explain that a little bit later when Coach comes on. They won on a walk-off the opening round. They won on 2 walk-offs, home runs. So far in this postseason, and they've only played 4 games.
Yeah.
So pretty incredible. So we'll talk a little bit about Clay. All right, let's get this thing rolling. We do have some topics as well. Hamby wants to talk about all the chatter in the dugouts. We didn't get to that last week. Also have a little bit more context now of the best of three. I don't want to leave softball out. We got a lot of softball stuff going on with districts. They're a couple weeks behind in the playoffs based on where baseball is right now, and that's okay. But softball coming to light now as we're into the postseason. We'll have committed to the uncommitted. We'll have our Coach of the Week presented by Perfect Rack Billiards. And meanwhile, this is No Gate Fees presented by Nimnik Buick GMC, Baker Sports, Perfect Rack Billiards, and Republic Services. As we wind down the season and we wind down the month of April, we head to the month of May, probably just a couple more weeks here on the show. We'll see how far we take it. But this might be maybe one of 3 shows remaining here on the show. And we'll get committed to the uncommitted in there too. So let's get rolling with a couple updates. And we've got series starting tonight. We've got series that are wrapping up, and we've got rubber games of the series in the regional semis. So we're in the regional semis in high school baseball. Clay moves on, as mentioned, against Escambia. St. John's Country Day moves on against an always pesky NFC team.
They played them 8 straight years.
And listen, they got Braden Harris on the bump. They dominated that game. Yesterday, a little different. They go to 9 innings. Chandler ends up winning it in walk-off fashion after they had surrendered the lead in the top of the 9th, I want to say. Without Stropman, who was their number 2 guy, and they had a great 1-2, probably one of the best in the area, they have really had to piece this thing together now. So game 3 would have been very interesting. If you go to NFC, you probably have to outslug them in that game 3. And I think that's what I like about the best of 3 format here.
You might have to win it more than one way.
You have to win it more than one way. Some folks might complain about the dominant arm being able to take you far even in this series, this kind of format. But the reason we got to this format is you wanted to eliminate the one dominant arm being able to carry you through the postseason for the most part. Hunter Barco rule, basically. Then they shifted it to where you had to at least win a different game without your number 1, but you could still ride your number 1 like 3 out of the 5 wins in the postseason. Just not the case now. And I think St. John's Country Day is a great example of this. They have Harris on the bump. Boom. Okay. Well, game 2 and game 3, if they didn't win yesterday, we're going to be really interesting. Game 2 was really interesting. And very few teams can go dominant on the mound.
Yep.
And whether that's public school or even private school. You got Trinity Christian, number 1 in the state.
Imagine if that series was one game.
Imagine. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, imagine that. And, you do wonder if it was just one game, if you feel a lot more heat if you're Trinity. You're already probably feeling some heat. It was 0-0 going the 9th. Hat tip to those 2 kids, Aaron Watson, who we had on last week, and Dom DiLoretto, who pitched great against Providence, and the senior going to Northwestern pitched great for Episcopal in that one. They went to
You can't have
extra
2 back-to-back outings better than he's had.
You really can't. You can't ask for it. What a great way to close out his career. And you can't ask for a better performance when you get both starters going to the 8th inning 0-0. And then they run into the pitch limit, and then the bullpens take over, and those guys did a good job too. Eventually lost 1-0, Episcopal did. That was a heck of an effort by Episcopal in that series. They lose 2-0 in the series. They lose 1-0 in 9 innings and 9-4 yesterday. But that 9-4 score was a lot more sweaty than it sounds. They were down. Trinity was down 3-0. They got up 4-3. It was 4-4. There was actually a situation, I think, when I checked in the 5th, Hamby, where it was 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. And I think Ellis was pitching for Trinity, and he got out of it. Might have been back-to-back strikeouts, but he got out of it. It was a big moment in the game because if Episcopal gets a big hit there, they take the lead, and now start squeezing that thing even more if you're Trinity. So I just think, I tweeted this the other day, it's the beauty of baseball, is that you can have a team that is absolutely loaded in Trinity. Like, it doesn't stack up. Nobody stacks up with them around the area, player by player, at least projection-wise. And they're the number 1 team in the state.
Right.
And you can get a team like Episcopal, who, by the way, it's not bad. They've been very good.
Scrapped.
But they're not nearly as up and down the lineup strong. And you can get 1-0 and 4-4 in the 5th in that series. And by the way, I don't think Trinity played poorly.
No.
I don't think Jonathan Murphy would say, hey, we played bad. I think it's just baseball.
He actually texted me about Tyler, and I asked him about how his pitching, how he navigated that. Because, once you're in the 8th inning of that first game, that feels about as must win as possible.
It does.
Right? So they went Ellis to close that one, and then, Wheeler to close that one, and then he started game 2 last night, and then they brought in Ellis. But regardless, it's a 9-4 game in game 2 after extra innings. If you got to go to a game 3 at Episcopal, I mean, obviously both schools still have guys, but that would be
a lot of pressure on Trinity.
A lot of pressure,
right?
Yeah.
And Trinity, they feel that. They played with that. We talked to Aaron Watson about it last week. They've handled it pretty well. And listen, they would still be heavily favored in that game.
Sure.
I mean, they've got the depth, right? So they would definitely be favored. But it's the beauty of the format. I really think you take St. John's Country Day. I think you take that series with Episcopal. I think, it's the beauty of the format. You got a chance. It's not just a one-night thing. I'm really a big fan of it. We'll talk some logistical things that are problematic with it, and we'll see if they can fix those over the upcoming years. Hopefully they don't give up on this new format anytime soon. UC and St. Joe's, how about that? That's been pretty wild.
Yeah.
UC took care of business game 1. St. Joe's comes back and wallops them last night, 14-2, and really put it on UC. And so now you're going to go to St. Joseph Academy on Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Garrison Wade, by the way, pitched the entire game for St. Joseph Academy yesterday and did a heck of a job limiting a pretty potent offense in UC. So now you go to a game 3. I love that series. 80th and 87th ranked teams in the state. That's pretty, it seemed like they're right in that same ballpark of talent. Both have seniors. I was asking somebody about it last night. They were like, that's a tough one to pick.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough to pick. That's a really good
UC
series.
Has some vets for sure.
And so the winner, by the way, play St. John's Country Day. And then Bishop Snyder gets a big win. They split with Bozeman, who Bozeman's a really good team, beat Bowles in the first round, trying to knock off Bishop Snyder. Now Snyder has to go out to Bozeman, take that trip. It's a long trip, and try to win game 3 here. Snyder, of course, in familiar territory. Last year made a nice run. They've played a lot of top teams as well, and here's a little action from last night's win as Snyder was able to get the job done. I think they held on 4-3. They were up 4-1, I want to say, and held on 4-3. Olivia Tassley was over there for us with Action Sports Jacks. Two really good games tomorrow.
Look at Michelle.
Yeah.
That's a great play.
2 really good games in game 3. Wow, it looks like turf.
Good gosh. Oh, we threw it away.
Holy cow. That's a fun facility over there, by the way, at Snyder. Good place to watch a game. They've done a nice job building that up with a hitting cage and everything else. But it's a cool backdrop right there set in the back in the trees. So anyway, love it. Bishop Snyder Bozeman, UC St. Joe's, should be really good matchups. Meanwhile, game 1s go tonight. We got Creekside at Spruce Creek. Number 31 in the state in Creekside. Number 8 in the state in Spruce Creek.
All right.
These teams have actually been both, Spruce Creek's been top 5.
Did they play in the regular season?
Played twice. Creekside beat them early, and then Spruce Creek won in Daytona to finish off that Daytona tournament. Extra innings, an airmail throw to third on a steal allowed the winning run to score. So it's been really tight between these two. Two obviously good programs. They know each other well. I think there's a lot of respect for both sides in this one. And Creekside actually has they have what you need, I think, this time of year. They've got the pitching depth, starting pitching depth specifically. And Nick Romeo was awesome against Timber Creek on Saturday night in that game 3. Heck of a job. I mean, Creekside only had 1 hit in the game, and they won 2-1. Well, you could argue there was a second hit, but it was and obviously a huge win against Timber Creek. I won't bring up last year too much, but I already have enough. But it really was. It was a big, it's funny. I will actually bring this part up because one of the reasons we kind of preach about high school sports and we live it through baseball and softball in our house we have, and Hamby's lived it and played it, and so many of you, if you're following along, you do. And so, it means something. We get the questions of, okay, does it mean something to everybody as much as it used to if we got kids leaving schools and going to 3 different places or 2 different places? Well, while we do have that, and while that stands out when it happens and it's almost noticeable, I still think there's this great sense of community in high school sports, and you get that. And what I didn't know how this was going to feel, this series against Timber Creek, but you really could sense that. Like, I just know. Now, listen, we like this stuff probably more than the next people when it comes. But I'm not as attached to this year's Creekside baseball team as we were a year ago. We followed along. Like, Steph really goes to a lot of the games. I haven't been able to go as many games. But I'll tell you this one against Timber Creek, like Ty came up from Flagler, went to those games Wednesday, Thursday, and it wasn't just us. It wasn't just the Martineaus that were paying attention to that game on Saturday. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of people texting, and it just, based on what happened last year with the 4.5 inning deal and getting rained out, it kind of meant a lot. You could feel like it meant a lot to people that were on that squad last year, people that have been around the program, and the kids and the coaches and the people around it this year, which I think is really neat. That's a neat thing to be able to still get in today's sports where everybody's going everywhere else and it doesn't seem like there's loyalty anywhere. But I like that. And you really did feel it with that one. Now, this one will have a different animal. Spruce Creek really good. Creekside in the best of 3 starts tonight. Both games today and tomorrow at Spruce Creek, and if necessary, at Creekside. All our teams, at least in these higher classifications that we have left, are on the road. Tokoi's at Pace, Columbia at Niceville. So obviously, you get to this time of year, it's really challenging, and you better play well. Let's see, we got Coach Persinger coming on soon. All right, let's get him before. Well, you know what? Before we get to Coach, real quick, I don't want to ignore the softball folks. So, Coach, hang on for a minute. But district action in softball. So we're still a little bit away, another week away from the state playoff stuff. And here's what we get. In 7A, Creekside's going to play at Atlantic Coast. Buchholz is going to play Oakley, Matanzas, and Ponte Vedra. In 5A, Baker County, Columbia. 4A, Paxson, West Nassau, Bishop Kenny, Wilson, Palatka, all in 3A in various districts. Episcopal Providence winners in 2A, Christchurch, Harvest Community, and UC is in the mix as well. In 1A, the district stuff, to me, if I'm being completely honest, and I think others would agree around the softball world, is a sign like we don't have as much depth in softball this year for whatever reason. We also don't have as much like firepower on the front end. Like last year, Episcopal, Baldwin, Baker County, I think we're all in the top 20. Right now, the only team in the top 20 in the state is Baker. Baldwin's 42, Middleburg's 38. So we have 3 teams in the top 50, 8 in the top 100. So I don't know what that really means. I'm just saying we had a lot of like blowouts yesterday in district semifinals. There are matches, but I think the championships games have a chance like throughout the classes to be pretty competitive and good. And can someone make a run out of there after that in the state tournament? We'll see. More softball talk in just a couple of moments, so we'll tee you up for that. But we are in district championship time now over the next couple of days. All right, let's go to Clay County, and we bring in the head coach of the Clay Blue Devils, Josh Persinger. He joins us right now, and after a nice win, hey, you could be on a bus ride to Pensacola.
100%. So we're real happy about that. You were out there last night. We love to play home games. The county comes out. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, that's another thing that's fun for this time of year, right? Maybe even different than the districts or a big rivalry game, although you get good crowds. But the crowds really show up for the state playoff games, and you guys got that last night. Great place to watch. Thanks for letting me in the dugout because I couldn't shoot anywhere else and get good highlights. So basically, I was in the dugout, Hamby, with these guys.
Yeah, that's good access right there.
For sure. Like I said, it's exciting. A couple of years ago, I think we had 1,200 people for Columbia. At one point. Yesterday or Monday, I was at third base, pulled out my phone and took a picture of the crowd. We always talk to those guys and we're like, man, they're here for you. So it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And by the way Clay is set up, you got them down the line as well, but you also have them up in that football stadium on the bleachers best. You can watch. So kind of like Providence has that too, backing up. So really good stuff. It looked like you guys just kind of played your style of ball. I mean, you guys have a style of ball. I was talking to your assistant coaches and just saying, hey, you guys don't play games that you win by 5 runs very often. You play close games. You're comfortable in the close game. Usually pitch it, throw strikes, play defense. That's great high school baseball, and hopefully come up with a clutch hit, right? I mean, that's kind of the way you guys have been playing for a long time.
For sure. We have an old coach. He passed away several years ago, but he always believed one of our catchphrases is "win the fifth." So he believed that if you win the fifth, you win the game. And one of our Clay Crazies, our fans, basketball kid, he came up. He's like, I actually went back and looked at all of the data from the last couple of years. I'm like, well, what were you supposed to be doing in class? But regardless, he's like, every team that won the fifth won the game. And then he said, and the one that didn't win the fifth, and they won the sixth. So it was just, you get those catchphrases, sometimes we have things we believe in, but it was kind of funny and kind of cool to see a kid do that, and he's like, yep, it actually works.
That's interesting. That's a pretty good thing to live by, too. That third time around the order, just about then, the pitcher's getting a little bit wherever the pitch count is, challenges your bullpen. But you got to feel good in the moment. One of the things I really noticed, I know parentally, when you're in these kind of situations, these big games, man, it's a nerve-wracking deal. You want to win, you want to move on, you want what's great for the kids. You guys seemed very chilled in the dugout, like your coaching staff. I mean, this was like, if you didn't know it's a playoff game, it looked like it might have been like a game in March.
Well, I think maybe I hide it well. We were in the seventh inning, and I was like, looked over my assistant. I'm like, I'm nervous. I think it's different being the head guy. And he's like, we were up by 4. We got 2 outs. We got to do it on the mound. And I'm like, yeah, but like, this and that, and like, next it's 7-6, and he's like, chill, we're good. So I appreciate it, but like I said the other day somewhere, I'm like, I'm never happy until we get that last out.
Yeah, well, and by the way, that should be the case because high school baseball can high school baseball.
For sure.
You just don't want that when you're up to happen. So, what are you keeping an eye on next now in your regional final?
So,
give me the other side.
It's kind of cool. I think you saw we got a ton of little kids out there and a lot of the local associations, and been really Fleming Island, Green Cove, Orange Park, all the area teams. They were out there, and we win. And next thing you know, I've got all these people texting me, hey, Arnold's down, Choctaw, so it's like the whole community's watching, and it's like, it's funny. They're texting me like, I'm not watching too. I'm like, yeah, man, that's awesome. And there was a time I got home and we were watching, and she says, well, when you weren't watching, the Choctaw was winning, and now they're tied. So I put the phone down for a little bit, but obviously Choctaw pulled it out. We've kind of had Arnold on our sites for the whole year. We played them 2 years ago at our place, won 1-0. I think it was like a 59-minute game. It was something crazy.
Wow.
And last year we went out there for spring break, and I think it was 14 innings, 12, 13. It was a lot. It was almost 2 games. So we lost 2-1, 3-2, something like that. So they're good. We've been 1-2. That being said, I'll always take a home series, especially with the new setup and trying to, today I was on the phone with hotels and buses and kind of, hey, we'll see what happens, but you got to prepare for those things. So I would love to have a home game, first 2 games, but we're prepared to go out to the Panhandle if needed.
By the way, so Arnold's playing Choctaw, and Choctaw won that game, so it's 1-1. So they'll play tomorrow to decide it. And, the advantage of that is not just at home, but you can also get a scouting report probably from St. Augustine, who played Choctaw. So there are a couple of little layers of this that, I think if you could dial it up, Choctaw would be the preferred opponent. But if you've been playing it for Arnold, too, there's something to be said for that along the way. It was interesting. Escambia comes from a long way away to play these 2 games. They came out Sunday, stayed over Sunday, is from what I've been told, stayed over Monday after playing the game. Tuesday, they play the game. You guys are done about, 9:30 or something. They probably got back at like 3:30, 4 in the morning back home. That's the challenge of this format. But overall, do you like the format where it is right now in this best of 3?
Yeah, I love it. I know Coach Matt Cleveland from Spruce Creek, he kind of put a team together, and we've been trying to, as high school coaches, we've been fighting for this for years. I mean, I remember when Coach Thompson was the head coach and I was the assistant, we had talked about it then, and it finally, kind of gained some traction. And a group of us actually went down after it was approved in the baseball committee, and then the ADs, we went down to the state and actually spoke, and it went back and forth, and ultimately, it won. I like it. I think there's probably going to be some adjustments. But I think, even Monday we went on a walk-off. I'll take our team against, anybody in a 3-game series. I've already talked to Trinity. I talked to Murph, and I talked to Tom Lucas at St. John's about potentially playing some back-to-back games next year to kind of prepare for this setup. That way, it doesn't help either of us just to, if they're throwing their ace and we're not, and vice versa, to kind of prepare through the season. So those are things we're talking about maybe getting on the schedule next year. I think that it's going to end up having to go to the like Georgia. It's going to have to go to the mandatory doubleheader. That way it eliminates. I think St. Augustine said that they spent upwards of $8-10 or something like that. So
wow,
to have to maybe do that 3 weeks in a row. So there needs to be some adjustments, but I also think we got to fight to keep it, because I think truly the best team is going to rise to the top.
Yeah, I would agree. I think this is a better format. This is the right format. And I understand there are logistics. I understand there's dollar stuff. But like I always say, I mean, Georgia figures it out. We can figure it out. And if sports are important, which they are down here, especially the sport of baseball, how good it is, you got to do it the right way. So we got to figure it out. But I understand that that's easier said for Brent than it is for ADs and everybody else across these high schools. So hopefully it does stay. I always talk to the baseball. I'll mention their name in a little bit, but I was asking them a little bit about today, and they brought up a good point. It's like, could you have that Friday doubleheader into a Saturday game potentially, right? Because a lot of people are complaining about, hey, we found out on Friday, now we got to go 5 hours on Monday. I mean, how do we do this? We're not an NFL team trying to figure this stuff out. Where do we find the money? How do we get there? How are kids getting out of class? So if you knew like hey, this Friday kind of Monday format or whatever the format is, 2 games on one day and then to the other place on the other day.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, Georgia's figured it out. And again, you were there last night. You've been around a lot of baseball. I heard you talking about the Creekside, Timber Creek. Like I keep telling our kids, I'm a big post-game speech guy, but my speeches have been, guys, you're just making memories, and I think
that's right.
Dane Dunny's texting me, Max Williams, these guys that I graduated with, and they're, it's worth, we got to find the dollar somewhere. It's worth giving these kids these memories. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more, man. And those memories are absolutely huge. By the way, I just want to let you know you're going to be our Perfect Rack Billiards Coach of the Week. And so we give away a $100 gift card. The only problem you're going to have, Coach, is you got like 100 people on your staff. So like everybody's going to get like a water and a chicken wing for that $100.
Hey, that's good. Some of us are working on our figure, so that might help out a little bit.
You do have a big staff, but you also mentioned something about the staff. I was talking to Adam Raposo last night. He was telling me that he went there. Obviously, he's coaching now, and his kid's there. He's going to Florida Gulf Coast. There's a lot of that out in Clay County and at Clay High School, right?
Yep. So it's funny because up until this year, my staff has kind of been Coach McQuaig, and then 1 year it was Gus Schlosser, who did some time in the MLB with the Braves. And then Andy was with us, and he went to the college route and then came back. So it's actually been different navigating it. When there's 2 or 3 of us, we kind of do everything. So, I'm 10, 11 years into my career now. So a little bit different role, so I've got the infield guy, the pitching guy. So it's been different, but it's nice rolling up to the field and Coach Lawrence and Coach Tolkien. It's field's looking beautiful. Rosette's throwing BP. Everyone, McQuaig's painting the lines. It's awesome. Sometimes I kind of feel like, man, like what is my role here? And then I get a parent call, and I remember what my role was. but it's been great.
Reality check.
and it's cool because, every kid, responds differently. So Coach Lawrence has his group that, the kids will go to, and Rosette and McQuaig, so they all kind of feed off of each other and serve as different roles, but we all have the same goal. So it's, I would love to tell you that it was perfect sail or smooth sailing all throughout the year. We've been through our bumps and bruises, throughout, but, I feel like we're in the right spot right now.
I think this day and age, though, the cool thing about your program is you keep them. Mm-hmm. Like this day, a lot of kids, like you got a Florida commit. You got a Florida Gulf Coast guy. You got a couple St. John's River guys that are probably going to play at a high level after a couple years. Those guys sometimes go and navigate other places. There are other places you can go. It seems like they really want to wear that uniform.
Yeah, and we try to. It's funny because 2014 is when Andy graduated, and I took over in 15, and it was kind of like, Clay's done, because we graduated 8. Our 9 seniors, 8 starters, so that was kind of my battle cry. So that first year, we grinded and, took our lumps and ended up winning the district. But we just kind of keep going. And those guys, they all heard about the 2014, and then 2018. I'm like, you want to stop hearing about 2014? Leave your, and so that was my first 4 years. We went to the Final Four, and I got a couple kids. Anytime I say something, they're like, "Oh, 2018," So it's kind of the running joke. I'm like, "You want to stop hearing about the other team? 2025, do something." So it's with a guy that graduated from Clay. Actually, my post game speech. My AD was there. Him and I both graduated there. And I said, fellas, all the hoorah. I said, but look around. This is old Clay. I said, this is the Clay that all of us. I think I had five guys standing right there that played baseball at Clay High School and on staff. And it's like, this is what it's about. Like you mentioned, especially in today's age, kids leaving and there's not a lot of loyalty and this and that. I'm like, it was a glimpse of old school baseball, old school, small town living. So I don't know, maybe I'm not 20 something anymore. So maybe I'm on the other, I'm not the young coach anymore, which I realized a year or two ago. So it's, I think that it shifts a little bit. So that's what's been cool for me.
Yeah, by the way, that's cool for me. That's why I like it. That's why we do this stuff, because I think there is still that out there, and it's great that still exists. I know it exists in other forms, but it still exists at places like Clay and really a lot of places, more than probably we give it credit for. And I'm getting old, man. That Andy Tolkien graduated in like 2014. That's nuts that it was that long ago. Then went to Missouri, obviously, now in the coaching ranks, which is pretty cool. All right, before I let you get out of here, I don't know what the hell they're talking about, but both Barnes and Smitty have texted me and said, I got to mention corn dogs.
Corn dogs. How am I going to handle this one? So somehow Barnes and Smitty and I got in a group chat last year right before our regional semifinal. And, if they're texting, them pretty well. So Smitty,
too well.
Yeah. Smitty tweeted out something along the lines of like coming over the Shands Bridge, like free corn dogs or something like that. I don't know if you knew this, but Smitty likes to tweet. So that's kind of been the running joke. And we handled business a little bit of that game. So we continue to joke about that, but I don't know. It always ends up coming up. So it's a fun little group. They're good guys.
Yeah, they are. If they care about local high school baseball and not just their own teams, which I really respect out of all you guys that do that for the greater good in the area in the state of Florida. Smitty probably just upset that you didn't give him a couple extra corn dogs. Forget about the loss. He just 100%. Wanted to eat a corn dog or two.
Yeah.
Josh Persinger.
Hold on, Brent.
What, you got something else?
So, Coach, you mentioned that you got some assistant coaches trying to watch their figure. Okay. I need you to take me through this video here.
Thank you for telling. I almost forgot about this.
This is why we got you on. This is the best thing I've seen all season, and I've apologized to whichever player this is that hit it. He's not the star of the show. Can you break this down, please, for me?
Watch the assistant coach in blue come out of the dugout.
All right, so that's in the trees.
It's the walk-off Monday.
Here we go.
Look at him. That is unbelievable.
So Coach,
he's fighting tooth and nail.
Yeah, we're big celebration. So the night before or last week, it was last week against Kenny. We had a walk off, and the umpire came out and he was like, "Hey man, like I get it." He's like, "But you got to be careful, like." Anybody who's not in a uniform can't run on the field. Don't touch them or whatever. So Tommy is my guy. He is an awesome assistant coach. Like he's former military. He can lead, but he's really good at of doing a task too. So I'm like, do not let them touch. They are not allowed to touch them. Keep helmets on or whatever. So listen, I gave him a task. He did it, and yeah, I'll tell you this: he got the corn dog. Yeah.
Yeah, that is great. That's Tommy Lawrence.
Tommy Lawrence. His son was Parker Lawrence. He was our third baseman last year. Big 4-hole hitter for us for a couple of years. So
okay.
And he's been helping me out. He's been my game changer guy for a couple of years, and he gives the best scouting reports. I mean, I think he could probably be an MLB for scouting reports. We know arm angle, this and that, so he gives me a whole book. So he's been chomping at the bit, so I was able to get him on staff this year, and he's been great. And then
Earned his pay last night.
Keeping people from not taking him.
He's got a new role. He might be hired by the Bigs sooner or later if we've got a problem. That is, or at least, hey, maybe Tennessee should hire him in college.
Yeah.
That could help. That was one of our favorite videos. By the way, give a shout out to the two kids who hit the walk-off homers. I don't have their names in front of me right now.
Yeah, so JC Rosette, his dad and I actually I was at St. John's for a year. He was a shortstop there. His grandpa was a big catcher. He played some pro ball. He's a big name around here. His first high school home run, what's cool about that is he's hit like 3 almost walk-offs. I've never had a home run robbed until the last 2 years, and he's had all 3 of them. I mean, literally at the wall. So when he hit it, I'm like, here we go again. And then it just kept going. And then LJ Martin, cool story. His dad is an alumni. At 96, 90, I don't know. I went to FCCJ, so huge moment for him. And then I think the best part of that was seeing his little brother run out in the field, give him a big hug, everybody in tears. So huge moments, man. By the way, that was the only hit of our game 2 nights ago. So we were being no hit. So the only hit of the game was the walk-off, which is...
Oh, I didn't realize that part of it.
Yep. Pretty cool. So...
That is amazing. You said it, man. These are great, just lifelong memories. That's what it is. You can see it unfold in real time, and you're like, oh, there's the moment. Like that's right. Maybe you get another one. Maybe you're fortunate to get another one, right? Like who knows, and at whatever level, but that's the moment, and you won't forget that one even if you get another one. I don't care if you go to the big leagues. We still have guys that play for the Jags or play for the Shrimp, and they're like, yeah, but that high school moment, right. Which is cool.
Sure. Awesome. Well, I definitely appreciate you having me on. Appreciate everything you guys do for the area of sports. I can tell you as, someone who's been at it for a while, we love it, and we couldn't thank you anymore.
Appreciate you, man. Good luck the rest of the way. We'll be following, of course, and good luck to all the Blue Devils out there the rest of this run. That's Josh Persinger, one of the great programs here in Northeast Florida. He is our Perfect Crack Billiards Coach of the Week, by the way. Open for lunch and dinner Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Take that big staff out when the season ends. And also, if you want to watch they've got the MLB package. So you can now watch Tyler Callihan anytime you want.
He's due up next.
Well, you got to keep us updated on that. Speaking of some players around here that maybe we'll be watching at other levels down the road, let's go to St. John's Country Day. I think that's where these guys are at. They're good buddies. Chandler Dantzler and Braden Harris join us from St. John's Country Day, 2 heroes of the last couple of games. Heroes is a little bit dramatic maybe, but they probably don't mind me saying that. St. John's Country Day wins their series against North Florida Christian. Braden Harris has struck out, by the way, 33 guys in the first 2 rounds.
We know, Brent.
Oh, yeah, you were a victim. I forgot about this. Like, maybe I should just let you do the interview.
No, I think I'm good. I think, Dantzler got us for a few, and Harris struck out 18 of us. So.
You're over it. You're over it.
Yeah. I appreciate that somebody else is feeling the pain this week.
Hamby coaches for Covenant, fellas. Just give me a scouting report on Hamby. Did he almost get thrown out of any of those games against you guys?
I was about dead quiet against them.
No, I think it was pretty good that game. It's kind of a little bit of an overmatched game, so I think he was chill over there, trying to pick to our hitters.
Yeah, just try to throw strikes over there. Braden, you've been throwing some strikes. You got things working. You're feeling pretty good this time of year, I guess, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I'm feeling good.
Are you throwing the best you've thrown, or is this just kind of keep doing what you've been doing?
I think like the beginning of the year, I started really good, and then I feel like towards the middle, I was kind of just like cruising. But then like the last couple weeks, I've definitely stepped up. I think.
Yeah. By the way, Hamby just put up Harrison Dantzler. This is like a new law firm here. Forget about the Where's Home podcast, Chandler. New law firm with you two guys. You guys are pretty close, right?
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
And all right, Chandler, last night, man, you come up to the dish, bottom 9. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so it was 3-2 count, runners on second and third base, and I kind of told myself, I was pretty confident with myself. It was 3-2 count. I was like, whatever this pitch is, I told myself before the bat, I'm not going to Tallahassee and spending my birthday Thursday night in Tallahassee going down there. I was like, if this pitch is in the zone, I'm hitting it in, at least scoring 1 and scored a 2, and then we celebrated right after.
Man, they got to work around Dantzler, man. First base is open right there. Don't let him do that to you. Well, happy birthday, in case I forget to say.
Appreciate it.
So that is that's coming up. This is it's pretty interesting, right? You guys are without Stratman, who obviously is a big arm.
Yeah.
You guys have had 1-2 punch that's really good, but you've had to piece this thing together a little bit different, right,
Yes, sir.
Chandler?
Yeah, we have some few sophomores that have stepped up the last couple of weeks. Ethan Bissell, Matt Williams are doing some good jobs out there, stepping up, being at that young age, coming into the playoffs when one of your best pitchers is down. It's pretty good for them to step up and do the job, which went to 9 innings yesterday. Both of them pitched actually for us, and then it was pretty cool to see our catcher coming in there the last 2 innings and shutting them down the last 2 innings. That was pretty cool to see. Just seeing him pitch out there. He's been practicing in some scrimmages, throwing some live ABs, and he finally got out there in a game, and he did a pretty good job.
I did see that, Braden. I don't like Hunter hasn't thrown a lot, right, in games because I saw him come in on game. I was watching on Game Changer. I'm like, Hunter Rogers pitching. Like I don't really see that very often, but I guess that's what you're down to at this time of year.
Yeah. For sure. With the 3-game series, we're not trying to get to that 3rd game, so we're trying to get out of that 2nd game, and anyone has to step up if you get down to the extra innings, and Hunter did step up. He did a great job behind the plate, and he came on the mound, did his job, and also went 3 for 3 at the plate.
Yeah, Braden, by the way, everybody talks about the pitching prowess. You've been swinging it pretty good, right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, especially the last couple games since like district started, I have been.
Like, are you just like obviously you're a pitcher by trade, but are you just like, hey, I can hit because it's high school? Or if you just hit, do you think you would play at the next level?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I was always a hitter before I was even a pitcher, and then like a couple of years, like I was just hitting, and then like 13U came around, and I started pitching really good, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do both now.
Yeah, well, you've done both pretty well. You look
That was what I was about to say, Brent.
You look a lot bigger to me this year. Like, what did you do from last year to this year? Like, how much is that my eyes or is that real? Like, how much did you put on weight wise since last year?
About 10 pounds from last year, and my strength numbers went up a lot too. I probably gained like 35 pounds on bench, probably around like 50 pounds on squat, and like 100 on deadlift.
Wow, yeah. By the way, you say that to most people, Hamby, like you put on 10 pounds. That's not usually a compliment. I meant it that way, though. It's a compliment.
Yeah.
Hey, Chandler, I know you could put on some pounds, too.
Well, he's growing something else. He's growing the mustache right now. So
Yeah, I'm trying to grow out the mustache. It's trying.
it looks good.
Hey, Braden, how were you up to 95? Did I hear right last night?
Yes.
Is that the high?
I hit 96 on like 2nd or 3rd outing of the year, but since then, yeah, 95.
So you've been 95. What are you sitting? Usually like 92 to 94 or something like that?
Usually 92 to 94. And then, yes.
Yeah, and so obviously if people don't know, I mean, Braden's highly recruited in the class of 2026, FSU guy. But I mean, you're going to be a draft prospect guy. I would say most projections would have you that way. We had Aaron Watson on, who you guys know very well, obviously teammates with last year. What's this like for you with a lot of eyeballs on you, right? And with that comes expectation and but also a pretty cool thing, right? To go play high level college ball or maybe even have a chance to play pro ball. How do you process all that at your age as a junior in high school?
It can be like you feel like you have a lot of stress, but I think I step up. I do better when I know, like in those situations. Like I feel like I do better in those situations, especially like playoffs, even like people watching. Like I think I do my best in those situations.
Chandler, you got to calm them down sometimes, right? You got to rein them in sometimes. I bet.
Yeah, sometimes he throws like 2 balls in that bat and he gets mad at himself and trying to calm him down sometimes. But out there in left field, it's pretty boring out there sometimes when he pitches out there. So come to the dugout, talk to him a little bit and see how his arm's feeling, which every time I ask him how his arm's feeling, it's feeling good.
Chandler, the outfield in St. John's Country Day is really boring. Like it doesn't exist.
If it goes over your head, it's home run.
That's true.
Lucas will love the fact that I a little punchline on the field there. Hey, Braden hasn't seemed to bother you. You're not giving up enough of those pop-ups, which is good.
Yeah, there's been one so far. and it like barely got out of center field.
You know who got you?
Fastball, yeah.
Okay, good.
You know who hit it?
It was St. John's Newman. I don't remember the hitter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good team from down south, right? Obviously, I think they were the highest ranked team in the class at the time. That was a good win for you guys this year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're good.
How much are you watching now, guys? Tomorrow, right? St. Joe's or University Christian, two good teams, two teams you're familiar with, and a local matchup. It's going to be in the regional final. Will you go there? Are you just watching it, checking out? What do you think?
I think I might go up there. I might film the game just for my YouTube purposes. I think that's going to be a close game. They're 1-1 right now with this 3-game series. I think the best team always comes out with the win. So I think it's I think Monday night, Tuesday night, they're kind of not really close games. They both have some pitchers, and it'll be a fun one to watch tomorrow night to see who we play.
Atta baby, no bulletin board material. As a consummate pro right there.
Yeah, he gets it. Chandler gets it. He's going to be in our business someday, man.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. Where's Home Podcast? How's it going?
It's going good. I got some guys working for me just because I'm out at the ball field every night, every day, and have some guys that film the game for me. I edit everything, get that out on social media, and we put out a show every week, just kind of like this show right here, just talking about the high school baseball around town. It's going to go. We got our last show next week, just going over who's in the regional championship and going over some guys that's had some good stats this year. So it's been going pretty good for me.
That's awesome. You guys are putting on this All-Star game again, right? In June. I think June 19th. You're going to do it at St. John's Country Day?
Yes, sir. We have it at St. John's this year. I'm hoping it's going to be even a better one. We're going to have it broadcasted live on YouTube. Photographers there, videographers there. We'll have real umpires, 9-inning game. Each pitcher will throw 1 inning. There'll be 20 guys on each team, so it should be fun to watch. It's always fun to see some guys around Jacksonville playing on the same field, just talking, maybe being rivals across the dugouts during the season, and being out there on the same field is pretty cool to watch.
How do you get, and here it is, by the way, so there you go. There's the contact number to give Chandler a call. He puts this on, and obviously with a bunch of guys. Hey, we should get this here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, man, not just on YouTube. We'll just push it out here.
Let's do it. You message me later on. We'll figure that out, and that'd be great.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. All right, one last thing. How's this whole deal worked with you guys? You guys were at Trinity last year. Imagine these guys had Trinity on this roster. I mean, holy cow. Hey, I can tell you this. There's nobody happier that you guys have moved on to St. John's Country Day than everybody who had to play Trinity this year.
Yeah, for sure.
How much you guys following what they're doing? Obviously, you got some good buddies still on that team. How's the whole transition been? You enjoying it at St. John's Country Day?
Yeah, I think it was one of the best things I've ever done for myself. Coming over here to St. John's, just the coaches, the teammates, everything's great here. I didn't really know everybody when I first came here in the fall, but just how my personality is, I connect really easily. I got some of my best friends now on this team. I think it's one of the best things I've done. I thought if I would have stayed at Trinity, my playing time would have been a little limited. So I think it was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Yeah, I'm loving it too. Like the culture here, like the winning culture, it was really good since day one. Like they welcomed us really good, and we've been loving it since then.
All right, you got to be rooting for those guys too, I would assume, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Hey, well, Braden Harris, Chandler Dantzler, good luck the rest of the way, and congrats on making it to the regional finals. Big hit yesterday for Chandler. Another big performance on Monday from Braden. Thanks for stopping in for a few minutes here on No Gate Fees, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
That was on.
That is fun hanging out with all of them. Where's Home Podcast, by the way, Calvin. That's his channel. He's been doing that for a couple of years now. Good kid. He's up the side with some of the high school sports media days as well. Obviously comfortable in front of the camera and in front of the microphone and leading St. John's Country Day. Defending state champs, potentially back to a state Final Four. It's going to be a good series between, St. Joe's or UC.
Mm-hmm. Either way.
And even over the years, when it was the old format, St. John's Country Day, as loaded as they have been, struggled at times with UC. So we'll be interested to see which one they get. And you do have that ace in the hole now. And you saw Brayton up close.
Yeah.
33 Ks and two times out.
That breaking ball.
I mean, you feel really good about that one.
Yeah.
When you throw him out on the mound. So good luck to those guys. And appreciate them stopping in. Same with Josh Persinger. All right, speaking of UC, let's go to Committed to the Uncommitted, presented by Nimick Buick GMC, Baker Sports, Perfect Rack Billiards, and Republic Services. Don't forget recyclingsimplified.com. This is our program where we highlight seniors and juniors in the baseball and softball world. $2,500 scholarship on the line as well. But really the main goal of this is to get these guys pushed out and get some notoriety because they're under-recruited. And Corey Goff mentioned Bryson Harnage a couple of weeks ago on social media. He's going to play for the Legion team. And this guy's been doing it for a couple of years now. He's uncommitted junior.
We played against him, and after his first debut, I'm like, "Where's this kid going?"
Yeah, he looks the part, right? I think he's got 8 home runs over there. UC's got kind of a quirky field too, but
real sneaky strong. I mean, the sneaky. I mean, you can see it, but he's got juice, like serious juice.
Yeah, and by the way, like I've seen him play a couple of times. My takeaway on him is kind of like what I always say is I think you need like gamers, right? You can have that 95 mile an hour guy, and maybe he's a gamer too, or you can have this big slugger and you can hit it a mile or whatever. But you need gamers. You need energy guys in your lineup, and this guy can play all over. Here's what Coach Calvin Orth said about him. He's put together 2 amazing years at the plate and in the field, dedication to his craft, and possibly more importantly, the weight room. And you can see it in that picture. He's grown up a bunch. It's propelled him to be one of the top hitters in the city. Elite bat speed, he says, which has always helped. 8 home runs, 18 total extra base hits this year. So Bryson Harnage, one of the players to keep an eye on. And, I think so. He's doing the Legion deal this summer with Coach Goff. And I would expect him to have get some noise going outside of after this summer. Now, again, it's not easy. It is not easy when you're talking about colleges and who they're looking at these days. Right now, the high school kids are put on the back burner a little bit. And again, that's part of the reason we have this program, try to get him a little bit notoriety. I don't really think we need to help this guy that much. He should be in front of people anyway, and I bet on their radar. But it more just might be a time frame and a timeline of, hey, you got to be more patient than you've ever been. Where guys a few years ago were getting committed after their junior seasons, or maybe even prior. I think that timeline has really moved back. So we'll keep an eye on where this young man ends up. We have the Fletcher kid on here too. I want to get to Kyle Johnson. And Kyle had a really nice senior year. This a little bit, we had Kyle Johnson a few weeks back ready to go. And what's cool about it, like Marcel made this for us 3 weeks ago, and he threw a no-hitter, remember, in the districts. And since then, FSCJ has got him on board.
Oh, good.
So he didn't need our help, but maybe we'll still take the credit. But no, we just like to take the credit around here, but we really can't for this one. So congrats to Kyle Johnson, found a home at FSCJ. And again, this was really cool because you're a senior pitcher, and this just happened in the last couple of weeks. But that, again, will show you the timeline of things. Like, it's not too late. Like, it feels late in the game. I get it. From a parental standpoint or a kid standpoint or a coach standpoint, it feels late in the game. I just think we're going to see a lot more of this for folks that want to play. And you did see it anyway. You could still see a kid sign on a place in April, May, even June, because things happen. But I think we're going to continue to get this kind of fill the holes. Let's see how the transfer portal works, right? Let's see how this goes. Well, that delays the high school kid.
Right.
So congrats to Kyle Johnson. Really cool that he's headed to FSCJ. And I know we got a bunch of local kids going to FSCJ again as they try to rebuild their program after a little bit of a disappointing season this year up there at FSCJ. All right, where are we going next, Hamby? Let's go to your dugout trash talk. I will give you. I was thinking of this topic yesterday, and I'm kind of thinking I'm seriously hanging out like in the dugout, like right at the end of the dugout of Clay, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm going to hear some wild stuff tonight, right? I was amazed,
Really?
amazed at how little I heard.
Huh.
I was really amazed. I was surprised. I just haven't been around high school baseball games as much as I was the last 4 years. And I don't know if that's a common thing. I'm not telling you there's no chirping, but I just thought it was pretty minimal for both squads. Intensity, energy, but a lot less chirping. There was one time in the game they had to say something to the crowd because they were doing the noisemakers stuff and everything. Yeah. But, I mean, really, I really thought I'd hear a lot more. So what's your take on this? You've been around it all year this year.
Yeah.
How's the chirping going?
My thing is, my question is it good for the game or not? When there's a certain level of chirping in between teams, is it necessary? Obviously, it's not necessary. But I think we have a lot of people who are keen on shutting it down almost immediately because they don't think it has any place. And I think it's a part of the memories to some extent. And I don't think, and you might say, hey, the Clay moment, that walk-off is big enough, right? And they weren't chirping a whole lot. But especially with how familiar all of these teams are with each other through travel ball and all year round, they all know each other. I just think it's more fun. And again, I don't encourage it. We set a pretty fine line on the specifics of what can be said and what not, but I think it's good for the game.
It's interesting you think it's good for the game. I'm not sure I don't know if I would say it's good for the game. I enjoyed yesterday's game, again, as a 47-year-old. I enjoyed yesterday's game. I thought it had everything. I thought it was a playoff atmosphere, energy, quality play, all the stuff without the chirping. Like, I didn't think it needed it. I also I said this a lot in the last couple of years. The folks on the outside of the fence are bothered by this stuff way more on the kids on the inside of the fence.
100%.
The kids rib each other like we would on a basketball court. They do that a lot more in real life, I think, in various things, like over video games. Or I think this is just a way they like to rib each other, but it doesn't usually lead to fights or punches thrown or anything else. It's just amazing to me you can rib each other the way you do in a baseball game.
And then at the end of the game,
nobody gets thrown at. And at the end of the game, you handshake line, and it's all good.
Yep.
Like, so if they're cool with it, we're the ones that elevate it outside because we're like, what is going on here? Right? This doesn't feel right because that's not the way it used to be. If that happened years ago, somebody's getting plunked. Just doesn't seem to happen. So if they're good with it, I guess I'm good with it to a certain degree. I think umpires and coaches really have a role here in policing when it goes overboard.
Sure.
And I think that's what they got to do. I don't think it's necessary, though. I don't know. Like, seriously, I'm not sure I agree with you about, like, oh, that adds to the moment, like, to the memories. I'm not sure about that. There's probably some fun exchanges.
Oh, yeah.
But also, these kids nowadays, a lot of them know each other. Right? As you were saying, because of the travel ball and everything else. Now, it can get really intense in travel ball in the summer.
Yeah.
And again, that escalates the parents, and then the parents get into it. It's like, whoa. Okay, usually not the problem inside the field.
It might not be high school, and I know we're about to run out of time, but you didn't want to bring up your question for the umpire.
Which one? My yesterday? Yeah, I could go on a rant about. There were a couple of them actually. West Nassau had one that was absolutely ridiculous. I'll bring it up maybe next week on the show. I did ask Fran about it, and like the one that I brought up on Twitter was actually the right call. So. Yeah, I won't do that today. All right, that's No Gate Fees presented by Nimnick Buick GMC, Baker Sports, Perfect Rack Billiards, Republic Services. Good luck to everybody continuing to play. Congrats to everybody that's all done. Baseball and softball.